So one of the main drivers of inflation, and I'd like to share this with you, and of course it's not the only representation or indication, I should say, of why inflation went up, but it certainly is a large one. And what we need to look at is something called the money supply. And so the money supply from 2010 to 2020, it took 10 years for it to double, okay? And that's kind of normal movement, and certainly since the millennial has moved slightly higher and then accelerated 5 times in a matter of 2 years. From January 2020 to April 2022, the money supply grew 5x. So there was an enormous amount of liquidity that was pumped into the economy. The Federal Reserve obviously went to zero, and not only zero on interest rates, they bought everything that they could buy in the forms of treasuries and mortgage-backed securities. And it was a big reason why mortgage rates went to, 30-year fixed went to 2.5, and 15-year fixed was even under 2% there for a few. The money that was pumped into the economy after the financial crisis, it got absorbed by the banks. It wasn't lent out. Here, going into COVID, the banks were in really good position. They had a lot of liquidity. And then when all this excess liquidity came about and the government said to keep things, moving, and as the economy opened up and maybe we saw that things were not as bad as initially expected when COVID hit, because we didn't know, we just thought that millions and millions of more people were at risk than ultimately were, the economy started to accelerate, right? And the housing market especially started to accelerate because interest rates went down. People were fleeing the urban areas, right? If you were sitting in Manhattan in a 2-bedroom with 3 kids, you were like, we're out of here as soon as things opened up, and you came into the suburbs of New Jersey and Long Island, and of course places like Westchester County. And because of the financial crisis, there was very little, there's always some investment, but the housing market was underinvested. The residential housing market was underinvested for over a decade.